Good afternoon, everybody. On today's episode, we're going to sit down again with Anton. He is a good friend of mine, a pro MMA fighter, a father, and a tattoo artist. Today, we're going to talk a lot about jiu-jitsu. We're going to talk about making clients happy and pissing them off. We're going to talk about patience and how kids are fantastic at teaching you. Enjoy this episode of the Mike vs. Void podcast.
Well, man, how's it going?
It's good, man. Just finished up a dope class taught by
Me?
by you. Exactly.
It's nerve-wracking. Teaching is, I love it. Immediate overshare. I was just going through a bit of a rough patch, and Dan was competing a lot. So I was just like, I'm just going to dive in. I'm going to go to every tournament he goes to. I'm going to work with him as much as I can and just like distract myself and get into like back to the things I love about jiu-jitsu. Like, how am I getting past what he's throwing at me? And how would I stop it in his shoes? And just was like, okay, here's how you take my game apart. And he used none of it in the tournament and won. So that's sick. That's what you look for.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool being along for the journey of someone else's journey from the beginning, you know, and participating in their development. I feel like, I mean, obviously jiu-jitsu is your passion, but I think a more broader passion of yours is like learning, teaching and learning, like attaining knowledge, whether you're the one helping provide it or receiving it. You know, I feel like some people, they just like to teach, and then some people just like to learn. But I feel like your passion is both sides of it. If that makes sense. Is that a fair assessment of what makes 100%. You tick?
Yeah, like when I look at it, I think of it as like, what's beautiful about jiu-jitsu is there's not to wax eloquent about it, but it's beautiful in a way because it gets away from the toxicity of the usual economies we participate in. Like, you're at your job and there's a hierarchy. You're participating in society in general. You're participating in the money economy. But in jiu-jitsu, it's a really fair exchange because it's a knowledge economy. And the fact of the matter is, everyone has something to teach you. Whether that's a big, strong wrestler comes in and suddenly now your game doesn't work anymore because there's a dude in the gym bigger and stronger than you, or it's someone small and quick and sharp. And now what you've used against the big guys doesn't work anymore. So even if you've got a bunch more skill than someone, you can still learn a lot from practicing with them. So yes, there's a hierarchy. We have belts, but it's so different because you can't make a brown belt without a bunch of white belts and blue belts and purple belts. You're so interdependent. It's closer to nature than our normal economy. It's very hard to be in a jiu-jitsu gym and be parasitic, you know?
Yeah, 100%. Your hierarchy is challenged every day because, yeah, I'm a brown belt, but like, does that mean that you being a blue belt means that you can't sweep me? You swept me today. You know what I mean? Like, just things like that. Like, but the hierarchy states that you shouldn't be able to do anything to me. I'm 2 belts ahead of you.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality. The reality is I zigged when I should have zagged, and you calculated the right leverage point or the right weight distribution, and you swept me fair and square. That's fucking life. You know, It doesn't matter what color my belt is or how much money I have or how long I've been doing the job for in jiu-jitsu. A wrestler off the street who isn't even a white belt comes in a shorts and a t-shirt, basketball shorts and a t-shirt with no fucking jiu-jitsu experience, comes in and all of a sudden suplexes you on your head. What, that's just not fair? That's you shouldn't do that because I'm a brown belt? No, that's life, you know? So that's the beautiful thing about jiu-jitsu, you know? It's funny when you talk to like the old Brazilian black belt, you know, red belts, they'll all say the same thing. Oh, the belt just holds your pants up.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, what matters is, you know, to quote our black belt, Pat Cooligan, he says, I'm not interested in what you know, I'm interested in what you can do. That's the difference, right?
There's a sick Latin saying. It's actually the motto of our special forces. Acta non verba. It means deeds, not words, which I'm a fan of.
Yeah, 100%. That's a good one for sure.
I edited our first episode today,
Okay. I still haven't listened to it.
I know. Oh, bro, it's good. Ethan was in love with it, but
When he said he liked it, that made me consider listening to it, just because now we have a third person
involved.
Yeah, I guess so. But for me, it's just, I don't know. It's like with my art, for example, like I can't look at my drawings that are 2 years old.
Really?
I hate them. I hate my tattoos that are 2 years old. I love your tattoo. I love, except for yours, bro. Except for yours. Yours is perfect. But I'm just saying, because you're constantly developing, right?
Yeah.
So as I grow as an artist, I look back on my previous art and I think, oh, well, now I do it like this, or there's this whole other layer of detail. So the idea of listening back on old perspectives, old opinions, whatever was going on in my life at the time, even though it was only 2 or 3 years ago, it wasn't that long ago.
2020, 4 years ago.
Oh shit, eh?
Yeah, it's a blast.
Yeah, I guess because my daughter wasn't even born yet.
No,
So,
you had told us about it that day.
Right.
I remember that.
That's true. So, but 4 years is a long, lots happened. We went through a pandemic. Trump is now president again. Like, there's lots of things lots of things have gone on in those 4 years. So the idea of listening back on a 2-hour conversation with you, it's just, I don't know. I'm just having a hard time. I'm going to listen to it, but just maybe after this podcast, I'll consider, but I still haven't listened to it. Just there's a bit of anxiety there for some reason.
Same. I haven't listened to it the whole way through. I check the levels through it, but like I couldn't. I'm so glad I edited it 2 years ago, and from the raw recording, because I couldn't go through it now. Like, even listening to the beginning part, I was just noticing some things, and I was like, I can't do that. I can't get in that habit.
Yeah.
But no, it's sick. So you've been a father for 4 years now. About.
As of Saturday, I'll be a father for 4 years.
Oh, birthday?
Birthday, yeah.
Oh.
What are you doing? If you got anything going on Sunday, we're having a birthday for her here.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm around.
Probably like 1:00. I can't remember. I'll get you the times. But yeah, everybody's invited. So
Nice.
It's just a bunch of kids running around. It's going to be Mario themed.
That's sick.
My kid's
Mario?
in a Mario phase, so.
That's good. Mario's a good phase. I had a Mario
Isabel's
phase.
kind of pushing the phase a little bit, like, because
Oh.
Isabel likes Mario, but it's easy to direct your kids into a fad. So anyways, it's better than Frozen or whatever bullshit she's into, but yeah. But yeah, I've been a dad for 4 years now. Yeah, man.
What's a recurring challenge you bump into a lot that you maybe, if you don't mind me asking, like,
Yeah, like as a
dad,
between me and my daughter, yeah.
Yeah, what do you bump into?
Patience.
Patience.
That's the biggest thing I've had to learn, is to be patient, because she's a new human, learning how to be a human. She's only been around for 4 years as of Saturday. So you got to take a step back and recognize that she hasn't lived this life of life experiences to, direct her in the right direction. That's my job right now. So, she does things that are frustrating, or I find at this age, everything's about pushing boundaries. She does it because she doesn't know her boundaries. I know I shouldn't do that because of this consequence, because of this, from 32 years of experience.
Yeah.
So, having to remember that she's going through this for the first time, and I'm guiding her. So it's all about pushing boundaries. She's not trying to disrespect me. She's not trying to, piss me off. She doesn't know. She's completely unaware. So having the patience, because you get used to just depending on yourself as a person. You don't have to worry about other people relying on you. I mean, okay, your girlfriend, your wife, your friends, and your family, sure, they rely on you, but they don't need you. They don't need you like this little human needs you. So that, that's kind of a long-winded answer, but I would say that remembering to take a breath, be patient, and understand that, again, she's doing all this shit for the first time, and I'm literally her tour guide. So I got to just take a step back and be like, hey, if she's doing something that's pissing me off, it's because I haven't shown her the way yet.
Yeah.
So
kids, adults have life skills for the most part. Some of them don't. But for the most part, it's that Louis C.K. joke is pretty true, where it's like kids are assholes. Like, that's what they do. It's like if you and me were all ready to leave jiu-jitsu and you're trying to get out of here, and fucking Ethan's like, I'm like, Ethan, put your shoes on, let's go. He's like, no, I don't want to put my shoes on. That's Louis C.K.'s joke. It's like, yeah, kids are like that sometimes. You know, you don't. It seems like from my I don't have kids, but you have to teach them the life skills, and a lot of life skills I can't just write you a checklist like be courteous. Oh, my phone went off.
That was mine. I should probably turn mine.
No, it was mine. Oopsie. Yeah, perfect. You have to learn those life skills through repetition. You know what I mean? A lot of life is similar to anything you want to perfect. Like if you're cooking a certain thing, you need to cook it a bunch of times. So I feel like those are the big skills. That's why I think parenthood changes people, not changes, but it adds a level of appreciation to the world. You see maybe things a little differently.
100%. I find I view people differently, or I have more patience. Like I said, I have more patience for people, but I have more sympathy for people. I have a hard time looking at someone and not remembering that, you know what, you were just a little kid at one point.
Yeah, and who knows what your parents were like.
That's just
Right?
Right?
They might have missed a skill.
I have more. Here's a funny example. So when me and Isabel first moved into where we live, there's this family down the hall. They have 3 kids, twin boys and a girl. They're in like a 3-bedroom apartment, tiny place. And we'd walk by their apartment on the way to our apartment every day, and we'd hear them screaming and yelling at their kids. And we would always be so judgmental between the two of us, right? Not to their face, obviously, but, you know, between the two of us, we're like, oh, they're terrible. They're terrible parents, you know, hearing them just yell at their kids and hearing them, they would swear. In all fairness, we don't swear. I don't swear at my daughter. You know what I mean? I don't use that kind of language. I'll raise my voice, but I'm never going to throw cuss words at her. That's crazy. But then again, I don't have twin boys and a girl all shoved in my apartment. So,
yeah.
But anyways, so every day we'd just be very judgmental of them and like, man, I would never talk to my kid like that. Da, 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 da. And then we had Nadia, and then it's like 3 days of no sleep, you know, just and then, you know, every step of the way of her growing, there's a new challenge. You know, there's no easy phase. People say, oh, just you wait till they get to this age, and just you wait till you get to this age, or they're easy at this stage. It's like, no. Each stage is easy and it has its challenges, and each stage is easier in certain ways. You know, you get out of one hurdle, and then there's another obstacle that you have to, because again, they've never been that age before, you know? So then anyways, long story short, I look at that couple now and I have no problems with them. I have I have no judgment towards them as parents because I understand what they're going through. I don't understand what they're going through. I only have one. They have 3. So just examples like that, you have more sympathy for people and what they're going through because kids make things so much more complicated, so much more beautiful and more fulfilling, and life has more purpose, but so much more complicated and challenging as well. So I would say that's the one big thing that's changed about me is I'm more sympathetic to people, if that makes sense, you know?
Yeah. I think patience and sympathy and empathy, they're related. You know, it's hard to have sympathy without the patience, I would say. Like taking that pause I tried it, not anything like having a kid, but like I'll be driving on the road and someone will do something I disagree with that maybe is against the law. Maybe I just don't like their style of driving. But I remember, and I always think back to this moment, I was like driving to work. I was working 7 days a week, 2 jobs, burning myself out, which was stupid. And I was exhausted because I'd worked late the night before till like 10 and then had to go to work for like 6 in the morning. And I'm driving to work and I'm at this light that always gives an advanced screen. Always gives an advanced screen. I'm tired. I'm chugging a Red Bull. I'm trying to get my shit together. And I don't even remember what it was, but I just pulled out. And the guy in front of me honked, and I stopped, but I was completely in his way and now blocking all the cars. And he's just like, it's good, bro. He just gave me the thumbs up. He's like, it's all good, man. It's early in the morning. I get it. So I just whipped through and was like, fuck. So I try to think of that whenever I'm in those situations where like someone cuts me off. It's like, I don't know that their dog didn't just get put down. I don't know what's going on with them.
Or his wife's in labor in the backseat and they're gunning into the hospital.
Gunning into the hospital, you know? Like, I don't know what everyone's situation is.
Yeah.
And having that patience and giving people room to be humans, I think is something that maybe we lack a little bit sometimes as a society.
That's a good way to a cue to bring yourself back to being patient with people is thinking about when people gave you a pass.
Yeah.
You know, because then you'd be like, you know what, I got a pass. This guy probably deserves a pass. You know.
Yeah.
To a certain extent. There's some fucking people who are assholes and deserve to get honked at and fucking flip the bird as you're driving by.
Oh,
them,
absolutely.
for sure.
90% of people, I would say.
100%. But there's a few people where, you know, it's good to just give them a wave and just like, it's all good. Give them the thumbs up, you know.
And I think at the end of the day,
keep your karma clear.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
It's good. No, I agree with you. It's good for yourself to take that breath. You know what I mean? Because like when that person cuts me off, like I'm going to tell a stupid story. I did the most immature thing. I'm supposed to make a left and then move to the right and pull into a parking lot. So there's a car way down the road and it's raining and my car has shitty bald tires. So I'm like, I'm not going to pull out. I'm not going to go because if I don't get traction, I'm going to end up in front of this guy. It's going to be a whole fucking thing. So I'm waiting. And the dude behind me honks. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I can see him like flipping me the bird and freaking out. And I'm just like, I'm just waiting for the car to pass. Car passes, I go. He accelerates. I go in the second lane. He goes in the first lane. He pulls up beside me. I'm screaming out the window. Or he's like waving at me out the window. And I'm in the center lane. I can go into the right lane, pull into the parking lot and go to work. But it's a red light up ahead. I can stay in this lane and get side by side with him. And there was an internal struggle. And good Mike lost that day. And I go to this red light, and he winds his window down, and he looks at me, and he's like, "You drive like a bitch." And I was like, "Thank you. I've been trying to lower my car insurance rates, and women pay less." And he's like, "Fuck you." And I was even more antagonizing that for a little bit. Like, he rolled his window back up, and I started waving at him. So he puts his window down, and he's like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, I saw you talking. And I didn't know if you were talking to me. I didn't know if you noticed you put your window up." And he's like, "I'm on the phone with my girlfriend." And I was like, "Say hi for me." He just fucking guns it. I was like, oh, I literally told my shrink about it. I was like, "So I did this." And he's like, "Face palm, what are you doing?" And I was like, "It was stupid."
But did you feel good after it?
Toxically, yes. But
excellent.
Yeah, I knew it was the wrong. I didn't feel good about it in my soul. The testosterone side of me felt good about it.
Sometimes those situations are very delicious, though.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard not to. You know what I mean? It's we come here and we train jiu-jitsu. You do all kinds of martial arts, including pro MMA fighter. You know, dominating your opponent is a thing you've worked extremely hard at being able to do. Turning the dominance off when you're with your kids, you're with someone who's new to something, maybe you're teaching someone art, you have to be able to flip the switch. And I think some people, you need to learn the switch exists before you can flip it off. People who've never turned the switch on panic and they just leave it in this on position. They don't know if they're going to be able to assert their dominance, so they just panic. They don't want to get into the physical realm, so they just escalate big time.
They're just in like a constant fight or flight mode.
There was a bunch of studies done on it that they were doing conflict resolution and negotiation for police and negotiators and military. And they found that the most likely to get to a physical altercation is two untrained men arguing. If one of them is trained, there's a higher likelihood of de-escalation. If both of them are trained, it is almost immediate de-escalation because we get to practice violence, or at least me. I know one punches me or kicks me, thank fuck. Millsy kicked me today, but not on purpose. But yeah, right? Yeah, he was going for a foot sweep in the thigh. We in this almost sterile environment, free of a lot of the dangers of the outside world, get to appreciate violence. And this has been said hundreds of millions of times on many podcasts, but I think it should be said again and again and again. We know that there's a downside to it. Like, we've all gone home, and by the time you get home from training and you get into bed, you're like, "I'm fucking sore. I'm going to get shitty sleep because some stupid joint is fucking inflamed and it hurts and there's no comfortable position to sleep in, and you're just like sick. Why would I want to add concrete and snow and ice and zippers on jackets to the math? I'm never going to want to do that. Not to mention knife, dirty person, whatever have you.
Oh yeah,
You know?
100%. No, for
But
sure.
no. So I want to ask you about something. You had a fight coming up and it got canceled. And I remember asking, I came over, I was like, how you feeling? How you feeling about the fight? And you were like, it got canceled. And 2 other people overheard. And I saw the Anton reaction, which is the don't you fucking comfort me. So I got to ask, describe to me why it sucks so much when a fight gets canceled. And I'm going to bug you to point your mic into your face. The thingy's right here.
How's that?
Oh, that's so much better.
All right.
I'll adjust the levels later.
Cool. All right, cool. Yeah, I can hear it better. My bad. I'm new to this. This is my third
It's
podcast,
all good.
So.
It's my 3rd podcast.
Oh, well, some learn faster than others.
Yeah.
But, okay, so.
If you don't mind me asking.
No,
about this.
for sure.
I just saw an emotional reaction. You usually don't emote.
No. I'm just, I want to give a well thought out answer to this.
Take your time.
You know, I find that for myself, when I get ready for a fight, and I'm sure many will agree with this, you know, everything becomes about the mission. You know, everything you do, what you put in your body, all your actions, your day to day, your sleep, everything is just becomes structured around this event. You know, Customato used to hypnotize Mike Tyson, and he used to say to him, "You don't exist, only the task." You know, as a young kid, he would tell him this at 13, 14. You do not exist, just the task. And I couldn't agree with that more. You know, I wasn't hypnotized or anything, but you just kind of come to that realization that if you want to be successful, at least that's how I feel, is that if you want to be successful in this game, it has to be a singular focus. And when you put all your eggs in that basket, you kind of lose yourself to that. And if all of this is for nothing, it weighs heavy on your heart, you know, weighs heavy on your soul. And you go back on all the time missed with family. You know, I have a daughter, I'm it's funny. I'm in a training camp. I've got so many, too many injuries to count. You know, it'd be faster to count what doesn't hurt on my body than what does. You know,
Yeah.
Everything is dialed in. My training is scheduled. I'm cross training at gyms in Ottawa. You know, I'm going all over the place. My whole life is about this event. And then I get the call that my opponent pulled out. And the minute I get that news, I start thinking about everything that hurts. I become like mortal again, almost, in a way. Like, before, I didn't give a shit. It was all, I'm getting this done. I don't care. You can break my arm, fucking whatever. I'm going to show up and I'm going to fight. So that's what this is about. My body is merely a blunt instrument to accomplish this task, you know? And then the minute I find out that I'm not fighting, all of a sudden I'm thinking about my foot, my hip, my this, my that. Thinking about all the food I haven't been able to eat, you know, everything, you know, all the sleep I haven't been getting, you know, just whatever, you know, the recreational events I had to pass on, you know, sacrifice, right? So I feel like this question's getting away from me.
I think you're nailing it.
But yeah, man, you know, it's interesting. I've been fighting almost as long as I haven't been. You know, I started training when I was like 16 or 15 or 16. I'm 32 now, you know, and I started fighting almost immediately. You know, within my first year of training, I was going to Serbia for the World Championships. You know, I picked it up pretty quickly. I was thrown in pretty quickly. Never in over my head. I trust my coaches, and they believed in me, and they never put me into a fight that I couldn't handle. But I have been fighting for 15 years now, pretty much. And you start to mold your identity around this thing. You know, I'm in high school, you know, insecure, not really sure who I am, just trying to figure out how to be a man. And then your whole identity kind of develops entangled with this lifestyle, with this thing, you know, this fight life. So, you know, and it's all based around, you know, a fight. You know, the lifestyle is, obviously I train, and when I'm done fighting, I'll still train. I'll be a lifelong martial artist. But for the longest time, there was always a fight lined up. I was always training for something. So when you take that thing away, it's like my life feels hollow, and my life as it is today, I have a wife, I have a daughter. Like, my life has so much in it that without fighting, I'm fine. You know what I mean? But there is this part of my brain that's been conditioned to associate my self-worth, my self-belief, my confidence, my identity in fighting. So when I lose that task, it's like I cease to exist, It's like my life becomes centered around accomplishing this goal, fighting this person, conquering this obstacle. And then when that's taken away, it's like everything just feels hollow and cold. It sounds really dramatic, but that's just the real truth.
If you're not that into it, don't get in the fight game. You know what I mean? If you don't have that thing, then the fight game is not for you. You're doing it not for the right reason.
I remember there was a... Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you didn't.
This was back when I was fighting an amateur. Chris was throwing a show. For those of you who don't know, Chris is the owner of our gym. He's the head Muay Thai coach. He's my head coach. He's like a big brother / dad / uncle /
terrifying human.
He's
me
like,
so much.
there's nobody I love in this world more than Crew Chris, But he holds a lot of weight in my life, and he's known me since I was 16. So for the longest time, there were very high expectations of me, just like a strict father would have for their son. I think that's what I would amount our relationship to, at least when I was a teenager. But anyway, so this is when I was probably like 24, 25, a couple of years ago. I was getting ready for an amateur fight, and the fight fell through. And there was no fight. And then it was like the day before the event. Chris wanted me to I had already kind of told myself, okay, I'm not fighting. And I had kind of come to terms with that. And then Chris offered me another fight at a different weight class, different rule set. There was just like a kind of a shuffle of whatever. And I hesitated. And then I remember Chris was like, all right, that's cool. I understand. And then I remember feeling like this hate for myself for hesitating and not taking that fight at the time. And I remember I was sitting in the car with Isabel. We were getting some takeout or whatever. And I was just having like a mental breakdown because I was just like at war with myself in my head. I was just like battling this. Do I want to fight? Don't I want to fight? And it was almost like I was battling my own self-worth because I didn't take this fight. It's like, and I remember she's like, why are you so torn up about this? Like, Chris is not mad at you. It's all good. Like, it's over. And then I remember just like saying this over and over again, like it was a fucking mantra. I was just like, if I'm not a fighter, then what am I? Like, I literally couldn't answer that question. Like, I don't know who I am without this. I don't feel like I exist without this world. Like, if I was thinking about if like tomorrow I stopped training and I stopped going to the gym and I just lived a regular life, I took up CrossFit or some shit and I didn't train, whatever,
your injuries will only get worse.
Yeah, just good point. Tennis. I take up tennis. Whatever. I just stopped training martial arts altogether. And I thought about that and it was like, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what to do. And I felt very like lost in that decision to not take that fight. Because at the time I had built my whole life, my whole identity around this thing. So again, coming back to your question, like it's just, man, to have a fight scheduled and then for it to fall through, especially like 2 weeks out from the fight.
Yeah.
Because I had been preparing for this fight. And I had known I was going to fight this guy probably about October. They'd asked me, and I said yes. So for a good couple of months, all I thought about was this person that I was going to fight, this event. And then for it to fall through 2 weeks out, it's just, it's crushing, But it is what it is. Jordan's fighting. Our teammate Jordan is fighting. And, I corner him. I help coach him. He's one of my main training partners. So it's about him now. And it's good. I'm still going to be at the event. And, there's still a mission to be accomplished. And I'm just trying to compartmentalize, because at the end of the day, it's like, though I'm not getting to fight, I want Jordan to win, So I'm just trying to redirect my headspace around that and just to make it about him. And I have other friends who are fighting on the card who I train with who are from Ottawa. So I have like 5 or 6 friends who are fighting on the card. So it's about them. I know. So it's going to be a great event. I'm really happy to support them. I get to be a fan. I get to enjoy the show. But of course, there's a part of me that's just like, fuck. Yeah.
Do you worry about putting it down?
Yeah, that's like yeah, definitely. I think about that a lot. You know, like, am I going to be able to put this down? Because I don't want to be somebody who's been in it for too long or who's taken fights that I shouldn't have, or, you know, you hear those stories of people who were in the game for too long. I don't think I don't have any yes men around me. I trust my community to tell me when enough's enough. And I hope I'll have the humility to accept that and to just learn when to put it down, you know, because I don't want to be punchy. I don't want to, you know.
Yeah.
I like that I'm able to articulate my thoughts, and I like that I'm able to speak clearly and, you know, not crash my car and forget where I am. You know, I like the fact that neurologically I'm all here. Yeah. You know, I want to have a brain, a healthy brain. I want to be a healthy human. I want to be able to have a life after this. But yeah, I think about what it's going to be like when I have to put it down, and if I'm going to know when to put it down.
Well, I think you're surrounded by good people. I think I don't think anyone's going to let you really continually hurt yourself. I don't think people would support you in that. At least I hope not. I don't think so. I think we're surrounded by good people, good and honest people, you know, and that's the beauty of having someone like Chris. He'll be straight with me, you know. He'll be like, you're done.
Yeah, he'll tell me, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I always say, people ask me what my goals are, and I always just say I'm just taking it one fight at a time. I think on one of my last fights, my post-fight interview, they always ask you, like, who do you want to fight next? They always want you to call somebody out, or you know what I mean?
Drama.
Sure, they love that. I get it. It's you know, WWE kind of, you know, it puts asses in seats, you know. But I said to him, you know, my life didn't exist after this fight. I made no plans after this fight. As far as I'm concerned, my life didn't exist. And I meant that. You know, every morning of my fight, I always get up, I look at myself in the mirror, and I just come to terms with, you know, if this is my last day on earth, just make the most of it. You know, if today's a good day to die. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just like look at myself in the mirror after I have a shower, and I just like kind of make eye contact with myself, and I just make an agreement with myself that I'm just going to do my thing, and nothing else matters after this. What I'm doing tomorrow doesn't matter. What the next opponent is going to be doesn't matter. If I fight again, it doesn't matter. None of it fucking matters. The only thing that matters is 15 minutes in the cage with this dude I'm about to fight, you know? So I just try to just maintain that mentality. So when it comes to planning ahead, of course I have goals. I'd love to fight, you know, bigger, more challenging opponents, bigger promotions. Of course, those goals are in the back of my head, but it's not at the forefront. That's not my main goal. My goal is the task at hand, the mission at hand, you know, because all the other missions ahead after that are irrelevant if you can't even accomplish this one. Yeah. I've had amateur fights where I've overlooked an opponent that I drew in the first round. Say it's a tournament, and there was here's an example. I fought in the World Championships in Iowa. Sorry, not World Championships, the North American Championships, the TBA Classic. So it's a Muay Thai tournament, probably the biggest amateur tournament in North America. So the opponent I drew in the quarterfinals was somebody that I had kicked the shit out of previously at another show. And I drew him first. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, I got this in the bag. Yeah. And I remember watching the other brackets fight, seeing who I was going to fight next. Just like, my mind was not on him. And I lost to him. It was a close fight. It was a split decision. You know, it was some people thought it could have gone either way, but the first time we fought, I kicked the fuck out of him. And the second fight, he wins, you know? So after that experience, I learned, you know, I'm never going to overlook an opponent. I'm never going to look past a situation, and that's why I have this mentality that if today's my last day, or if this is my last time fighting, put all my eggs in this basket, because everything else after that is irrelevant, really.
Very true. I like it. It's that 300 quote, make ready your breakfast and eat hearty, because tonight we dine in hell.
Yeah, man,
That's such a good movie.
that's such a good movie.
So, what's harder, fighting or cornering?
They're different.
Yeah.
I will say this: cornering my wife is
Oh.
way harder than fighting or cornering anybody else.
Yeah.
You know, watching her fight and cornering her. I've cornered her ever since we've been together. I've cornered her. So I've never just like watched her fight as like as just a teammate. I've always been like a coach. I've always been right in the corner with her. So there's a part of you that's just like engaged in the fight and looking at it from a technical standpoint. You're not attached emotionally. You can't. You got to look like, you know, you can't think about like, oh, is she getting hurt? Is this, is that? You have to think about, no, you need to fucking execute this game plan. You need to apply this technique, whatever. So part of you is removed and you're looking at it from a very like, how do I say, trying to
take your time.
I'm trying to think of it's like not like emotionless or cold, but just very like you're playing a game almost, you know. You can't look at it like this emotional drama or this fight. You have to look at it like it's a sport to a certain extent, you know.
You have to turn off the emotional connection and turn on the rationality. This person wants to win this fight and they may be having a tough time right now, but what could they change? As opposed to being like, my kid is out playing soccer and she just got smoked in the shin. It's a soccer game. I'm going to get her out of there. You know?
Yeah.
Lots of switches.
Yeah, no, for sure. And again, me and Isabel were teammates like before we were together, you know? Yeah. So our relationship has grown through being teammates. You know, it's just intertwined with all of this. So, you know, it's just second nature to us watching her fight. But again, I will say that watching her fight is harder than watching any. The anxiety I get for her walking out is higher than the anxiety I get for me walking out. Just to give you an idea, but like me fighting, I'm going to definitely be more anxious. It's harder for me to fight than to say watch Jordan fight.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But for my wife, it's a little different.
A little different.
The mother of my child is getting into a cage fight.
Yeah, that's got to be an interesting feeling.
But I have nothing but supreme confidence in her.
Yeah.
So it's like I have nothing but belief that she's going to fuck this bitch up. But there is this small percentage of my brain that's like, I don't want my baby to get hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this other chick's going to try to elbow her in the face and, you know, so it's.
I don't know if I could do it. Mind you guys met before, like the fighting and the coaching and the teammate stuff happened before the relationship. But like Jenny sprained her ankle badly recently, tore a ligament, and like I've been helping her around and just watching her like just
she tore a ligament, eh?
Oh, it was the bottom of her foot went all purple. It was a whole shit show. She had to go see an orthopedic surgeon because the doctors couldn't tell what was going on from the x-rays apparently, and
that's never good.
No,
because if it's a bone, it's a bone. You cast it up, it's good in 6 weeks. You know what I mean? But when it's like tendons and joints and stuff, that's where things get.
And that's what happened is she has like a genetic mutation that's in a tiny part of the population. She has an extra bone in her foot, a tiny little extra bone. And some of the doctors were like, yeah, your bone broke. This is the chunk of bone that's floating around. And the orthopedic surgeon took one look. He's like, nope, that's normal. You're good. You probably tore something. But just, I remember we were pulling into a parking lot at a doctor's office for another set of x-rays. And it was icy. And I was like,
where's the salt?
Yeah, I was
Where's
like,
the salt?
Couldn't someone fucking plow this parking lot? I thought I had never had in my life before. So yeah, I don't know if I could watch her fight. Like when she's tried one jiu-jitsu class and she's curious about it. But like I'm glad Isabel runs a sick women's program here at the gym. For the record, anyone who wants to train jiu-jitsu and you're a woman, you don't want to have to deal with guys. I get it. The women's program at Mass is bigger than the mixed classes usually.
I know, it's crazy.
It's
Isabel did that from the ground up. It's cool seeing like every single girl in Isabel's class, 100% of the jiu-jitsu they know, they learned from Isabel.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm like a fucking jigsaw puzzle of other people's jiu-jitsu. You know, I've learned from lots of different people. I haven't had just one coach. But so there's no one who can get 100% of the credit for my development or your development. You know, you learn from me, from Scott, from Pat, you know what I mean? You learn from all kinds of people. But Isabel, every single girl in Isabel's program, they all learned everything from her. So when you see these girls killing it at tournaments, no one else can take credit but them and Isabel.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see her build something like that, you know, and to know that I'm training with Jess, for example, who's probably one of Isabel's top students. I'd say she's the most dedicated for sure, you know, and she puts the most effort in, and that's why, and it shows. It just goes to show that those who are willing to work the hardest are going to. She's not by any means an athletic specimen. Like, she wasn't. I don't think she was an athlete prior to training jiu-jitsu. Like, at least not to my knowledge, you know. And it just shows that. But she's just dedicated and works hard and puts in the extra hours. And look who's excelling the most out of any other girl, you know. And, But I'll be rolling with Jess, and she'll attempt a specific submission on me. I'm like, how did you even know this? I didn't even know who taught you. And of course, it's like, well, Isabel taught her, you know. And it's amazing to see. You know, I forget how obviously Isabel is an amazing fighter, but she's such a good teacher. Like, you know, well, she's a kindergarten teacher, obviously, in her day job.
Yeah.
And then, you know, she's a yoga instructor. Like, I find her real gift in life is teaching.
I'm jealous of it. I'll fully admit it. When I teach a class, if she's there, I always hunt her down and sit down, and I'm like even today, she was over there and the girls were training, and I sat down and I was like, how am I doing? And she's always so encouraging.
Yeah.
But I would also completely take it to heart if she was like, don't do it this way. This sucks. This is what I would change. I would respect it absolutely, because like, even watching Jess in the tournament, she threw more submission attempts than I think Dan, Jeff, or Leo threw in their last 3 tournaments combined in one match against like a 4-stripe white belt, and won the match. So it just goes to show, Iz is really teaching them. They're throwing submissions I'm not comfortable throwing.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
So, no, it's been amazing to see in such a male-dominated sport. And the pictures get posted sometimes, but it's a huge class. Mm-hmm. It's so many people.
Yeah.
And in such a male-dominated.
Oftentimes it's the busiest class in the gym. Period. Yeah. Muay Thai, whatever class is going on. Usually Mondays, which is when she has her class, it's the most packed.
Yeah. Apparently the morning classes are blowing up now too.
That's good.
She was telling me that
on Fridays, right?
Yeah,
tomorrow,
I think so.
Yeah, she's teaching tomorrow. So.
Yeah, no, it's just, it makes me feel really good. I love jiu-jitsu, and of course, all of us who do jiu-jitsu, at least for me, I fall into that meme so hard about like, hey, bro, you should try jiu-jitsu. Everyone I meet, you should try jiu-jitsu. But no, it's so sick to see. It makes me so proud of my gym. It makes me feel like it just makes me feel like really good, just to see a lot of women getting out, training, learning, getting into these physical. You know, we get really uncomfortable with physical contact with people, which makes sense, especially for women. But to get over that in this community setting, like those classes, not saying it's a cult, but they're culty. Like, they're so wired tightly together, and it works so well. And like at the seminars, like we've had seminars where I feel like the women have outnumbered the men. Like Pat's come down to teach a seminar, and there's been more women here.
I think the last one was like that.
Yeah,
I'm almost certain there were probably maybe not the last one, but the one prior. So I would say, what was that? When was the last one? Was October?
I do not know. I wasn't here.
I can't remember.
Either way,
when did you get your blue belt? That wasn't this one?
No, it was a couple ago.
Yeah,
because Jeff got his blue belt the one after me, and he wasn't at this most recent.
So, and maybe not the most recent one, but there was one where there was more women than guys there, and I think
sick.
And Pat noticed too, because I remember Isabel after she told me, when Pat said to me, I think he was like boosting her because, he knows all about building programs. So to get kudos from him,
he's built multiple gyms in jiu-jitsu.
That holds a lot of weight for sure.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. It's I'm so proud of her. She's she's so good at that. And it's so funny because it's crazy to say that there's something that I think she's better at than actually fighting, because she's such a good fighter.
Yes,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
but it's like people don't realize that that's how good of a teacher she is. I think she's actually a better teacher than she is a practitioner. And that's not knocking her
No.
practice at all. You know, she's obviously a fucking killer, and she's amazing.
She scares me. Like, I see you and Jordan going to the ring, and I see you fighting, and it's like, okay, there's one of my brothers getting into a fight. I get it. Throw down. But Iz just transforms. She turns into this other thing, and I'm just like, I get scared. I'm like, I'm so fucking glad I'm not in there. Because
Right?
that does not look like a fun time.
Yeah,
So pivot a little bit.
sure.
You're a tattoo artist.
I'm a tattoo artist.
You put a tattoo on me that apparently you don't like because it's 3 years old.
No, I do like it. Every time I look at it, I look at it thinking I'm gonna hate it, and then I'm like, you know what? I still like it.
Well, I love it, so.
No, that's what's the most important thing. But no, it's good. It's I like it for sure, you know. And and what I mean just is that I'm always developing as an artist. So for me, it's like looking on techniques that I apply now. Like, I find art, it's always more layers of technique, more layers of intricacies that I'm adding to my, or removing layers of detail, knowing when to show restraint that maybe in previous, I'm trying to think of an example. You know, you do a piece and you throw a bunch of detail at it, and you throw all the bells and whistles, the cherry on top, everything. You know, you just overload it with detail, and sometimes that takes away from the art when you need to show restraint and let the skin breathe and let light pass through a little bit. Know when to use negative space rather than just filling it with detail and shading, and, you know, not to get too technical. So, you know, looking back on tattoos, not just some things where like, oh, I could have done more, maybe I should have done less, you know, and that just comes with but I feel like that's also me looking at my old stuff and thinking I would have done it better means that I'm getting better. So sometimes, you know, I can look at old tattoos that maybe at first I'll be like, ugh, why did I do it like that? Why did I do the eyes like that? Why did I do the body like that? But then I have to also have this self-talk, a positive self-talk, and kind of reframe it and be like, wow, I can do that tattoo so much better. I haven't just been fucking wasting my time jerking off. I've been actually developing and getting better as an artist. So it's both. It's you know, looking back on my art and kind of just like, oh God, and then also looking back on my art and like, wow, I've come a long way considering that was only 2 years ago or whatever, you know. So
Don't name names or even designs. Is there a tattoo you've done that you hate that it's out in the world?
oh yeah.
That didn't take long.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely,
Yeah?
definitely. Luckily, none here at the gym.
That's good.
And I'm not just saying that because there's a current person in front of me that has one. No,
You
no,
can be honest with me. It's okay.
No. I can honestly say that maybe through the universe just blessing me, because I know the universe knows I have to see these people every day, that it just kind of the tattoos here.
Yeah.
I love. I you know,
Yeah.
the designs are cool, and the designs are solid. They're timeless. I feel like, yeah, my favorite tattoos are actually on people at the gym. Maybe because I care about them a lot. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I just put that extra bit of effort into it, that extra bit of care. I like to think I approach all my tattoos with the same level of care and effort, but any artist will tell you that if your head's not in it, it's going to show. You know, if you're somebody who's super nitpicky and doesn't let you just express yourself as an artist, you're not going to get their best work. At least not for me. If I have somebody who has like a million things they want to include and they're very specific on how they want it designed, and they almost force you to get away from how you want to express the art, then you're going to get what you want or what you think you want rather than what I do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm the artist. My job is to take your ideas and translate it into the style that I do. You know, and people have a hard time with that. People think, I want this.
Everyone thinks they're an artist.
Yeah, everyone thinks they're an artist. You have an idea of a piece of art you want, but you need to go to an artist, and then they're going to bring it to life. But bringing it to life may not be what's in your head. You know, but you just have to learn to, you have to learn to just let go and to surrender to the artist. You know, you want a tiger, okay, but you can't have a tiger holding this specific thing in this specific pose with this specific water and this too much. 2 to 3 things, and let the artist do the rest. You know, you have to understand that you're trying to speak in a language that you don't understand.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, just to answer your question back to, are there pieces that I don't like? I find the pieces that I dislike the most are either something that I didn't put my 100% effort into, even if the tattoo still came out good, but I look at it and I'm like, it could have been so much better. But that day I hadn't slept properly, or I had a shitty day at the gym, or me and Isabel were fighting about something, whatever, there's life got in the way. There's those tattoos that haunt me because I know I could have just done it so much better, but it was a matter of effort, because you can always put 100% effort.
Yeah.
You may not get the results you want, but if you can put 100% effort into anything you do, you can sleep better at night.
Yeah, you can sleep at night knowing you've.
But the other tattoos that I hate are the ones where I let people drive the ship too much. Having my integrity as an artist, because I can say no. Yeah. I don't need this tattoo to pay my rent. I don't need this tattoo to live. I have other projects on the go. I'm comfortable enough where I can say no to certain projects, which I do. But sometimes you just let somebody give you too many ideas and just control and don't relinquish any control. And the product you get is the thing that they thought they wanted, but it isn't what I do, I'm very specific on what I like to do. And I feel I would rather be good at my style than to be okay at a bunch of different things. And I'm not knocking tattoo artists who can do all kinds of styles, whether it's, traditional, black and gray, hyper realism, tribal, like whatever script, like someone who can do everything. I have nothing but respect for somebody who's been able to just learn all these different styles. However, I'm more interested in just like honing in on my style and just like crafting something that's original, that when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's a piece done by Anton. That's what I want. I'm not interested in, I want to know how to do portraits. I want to know how to do this. I want to know who do that. I want to do what I do. And I want people to come to me for what I do. That way I'm kind of just like creating my own reality and just like living in my own creative sphere rather than just providing what, I don't know. I'm just trying to give people what they want. I want people to want what I have. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. I've noticed through the way you talk about art and the just different discussions we've had about different philosophies around art and martial arts and kind of the blend between the two, it seems like they're both pinnacleless. There's no mountaintop. You know what I mean? There is no perfect tattoo. There is no perfect jiu-jitsu game. Gordon Ryan excluded. Kidding. I just did that to piss you off, and I got exactly what I wanted.
I'm just thinking of
Yeah.
Not knocking Gordon. Gordon, he's the goat.
I don't want to fight you.
He's the goat. He's the no-gi goat for sure. If I guess if you could say there's a perfect no-gi jiu-jitsu game, it's his.
Yeah,
for sure. But I'm just thinking more about like his social media presence. Sometimes it just annoys me. But other than that, but I don't follow Gordon Ryan for his political beliefs. I follow it because he's such a good jiu-jitsu player.
Yeah, he shows techniques that are solid, that work.
I just feel like sometimes he gets a pass for the things that he says and does because he's so talented at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
But again, it's, if we differ or if we disagree on political views, that doesn't mean that I don't like him, if that makes sense.
No, I
guess I'm just trying to justify my emotional reaction to you bringing up Gordon Ryan. But again, nothing but respect to him as a jiu-jitsu player for sure. But he's not perfect.
No.
He's not a perfect human. So
no, he's not.
Nobody
His hair looks stupid.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of his hair, but I wouldn't do it for me. I wouldn't.
Yeah, no, don't do that hair.
No.
Kyle does that. It's enough in the one's enough. One Marshall Mathers blonde hair is enough. Now, what's it? I'm trying to form the question right. There's no peak. There's no end. You're going to train jiu-jitsu for a huge chunk of your life till your body can basically not do it anymore. You're going to be an artist for the rest of your life. You'll never not look at things as an artist. I live with an artist. Jenny's a professional artist as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. She's an environments designer for video games.
I did not know that.
Yeah, she's...
if you've told me that,
I may have. Who knows?
Maybe, but that's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, and just having lived with her. First of all, she's an alien. She's not an alien. I love you. But the way she looks at the world is so much. Is not so much. It feels more than the way I look at the world. It's not necessarily more. We've just had different life experiences. It steers us into different perspectives about things. Like we'll watch a movie or play a video game together or do something. I'll watch her play video games, a video game I've played, and I'll notice her doing things differently. I'll notice her appreciate the environment differently. What I actually find is that the aesthetic of the world is better catered to steer her. Whether that's architecture outside or the design of a video game, she seems to have this she is able to intuit what the designer wanted the person to do, how it was meant to be explored and appreciated. So I just think it's so interesting talking to artists about this not having a peak, not having an end goal, not having a mission. It's the opposite of a fight coming up. You know, what do you look for as next steps? What's the checklist, if I could get you to make one quick, of where Anton as an artist wants to go?
As a tattoo artist, what?
Yeah, as a tattoo artist, or just how you express, ideas visually. What's the next step for you? Do you want to increase, better shading, better lining? I know you want to do all of it. You can get technical; it's fine. I'm just curious as to how you build a roadmap when you're flying through the clouds.
Just to relate it to jiu-jitsu, it's what do you want to get better at? My answer is always man, everything.
Right.
If I go to Professor Steve Poole in London, who I consider my black belt, when I go and train with him, and he asked me, what are you working on? What do you want to work on? What can I help you with? I'm always fucking everything, dude. I want to work on everything. Yeah. So from a technical standpoint, of course, I want to elevate myself in every category. I want to fill all the bars up. But maybe a little more specifically, I guess I just want to have just more bodies of work. I want to do bigger pieces. I want to do full body suits. I want to do full back pieces, and I want people to. I want to be in the position where, and I feel like I'm already there in a lot of ways. I do a lot of tattoos that I want to do that really get me up in the morning. I can't say that every tattoo I do is a live, love, laugh, fucking butterfly, whatever. Those pay the rent. Don't get me wrong, but I do enough tattoos that I love where I don't feel like I'm just fucking just making it, just punching a clock. I'm passionate about the tattoos I do. However, if I could even more so be in a position where people come to me and they just want my art. This goes back to what I say. I want to just really hone in on my style, and I just want to be known for my style, and I want people to come to me for my work, and just to give me, to trust me and to believe in me enough that they just let me take the reins. I'm not saying I want everybody to come with me and just give me a sleeve, whatever you want to do. That's not it. I hate that. I hate when people say, what do you want to do? Oh no, that drives me nuts. When people are like, what do you want to work on? Well, then I want a fucking samurai fighting a tiger on your back you know what I mean? What do you mean? Okay, I want your whole back to be a dragon claw. I don't know, just I don't like that. I like direction, but not too much direction. I want ideas. You're saying I want a tiger. Okay, well then let me do the tiger how I would do the tiger. I'm down to collaborate, but I want people to just, I want my art to warrant enough respect that I get the trust to just kind of do whatever the fuck I want. Within parameters, of course. You know what I mean? Like I said, someone comes to me, I use a tiger, for example, or a dragon or a koi fish. They say, I want this. Well, let me do a koi fish the way I want to do a koi fish. Let me do a tiger the way I want to do a tiger. And I just want, maybe it's a big ask because, again, tattoos are so personal. You know, they speak to so much more than just a piece of art. Some people just like cool art, and they'll come to you because they look through your Instagram and they think your art's dope, and they're like, I just love your art, man. Like, what would you want to do? I'm like, what do you like, tigers? You like dragons? Yeah, I love dragons. Okay, yeah, do a dragon, dude, for sure. I love your dragons. Like, there's those conversations, but for a lot of people, it represents their mother or their child that died. You know, I've done
Jesus.
yeah, man, it's crazy. Like, so there's that whole other side to it that I have to respect. You know, and it's you can't get too caught up in like, I'm an artist and I want to express my, you know, it's easy to turn your nose up to people and their own personal experiences, but at the end of the day, tattoos are they're so personal, and it's sometimes for some people it's more than just art, you know, and that's why when they come to you with this checklist of everything they want included, because maybe it's everything that reminds them of their dead mother or their father or whatever, you know, or they're overcoming addiction. You know, there's like things that tattoos represent. It's like a timestamp.
That's how I look at mine. Yeah,
for sure. You know, like tattoos can represent overcoming things or something that you struggle with on the daily. You know, some of my tattoos I have are reminders, you know, for me to whatever mantras and reminders in my own life, things to remind me of, you know, ongoing battles that are never going to be won, that I have to remember to continue to fight, you know, and so I guess I'm just trying to find a way where I want to be at a position where, of course, people are, I'm getting the tattoos that they want, and I'm sorry, I'm just losing my trail of thought there. I want the tattoos to speak to what they want it to say, but I also want it to be portrayed in my style, if that makes sense. So
It does, yeah.
if you want a koi fish with this flower, that's cool, but don't get on my ass about how you like the fins. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
This is how I draw the fucking fins, okay? This is how I draw water. This is how I do the tiger's mouth or whatever. Or like this is how I draw cherry blossoms. Like, I don't need you nitpicking on every single petal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Have you ever given someone a tattoo and seen when they saw the look in their face when they saw it, and you knew they were like, I fucked up. Not necessarily this looks bad, but they're like, I didn't think it would cover this much of my body, or they're just shocked afterwards, and not necessarily in the best way. You can say no, all your shit's perfect.
You know, it's funny. This one guy came in.
Yeah, give his name. I'm kidding.
Fuck that guy. He was fucking such a tool. But anyways, he wanted a star around his elbow. So the center of his elbow is in the center of this like star, not like a Star of David, like that kind of like how many, like a 5-point star.
Yeah,
if it makes sense, right? And he wanted the outline of the star, and then he wanted it to shade out, if that makes sense. So there's a hard line of a star, outline of a star around the elbow, but then the lines fade out into gray and then into nothing. So that it's almost like the star is fading away, right? I did that for him, and I told him, because the one that he had shown me was on a chest.
Mm-hmm.
He saw this on a chest, and I'm like, it's not going to look the same because it's a pointed, rounded surface. So it's not going to look the same as this flat chest tattoo. Just the angle's different, the dimensions are different. It's not going to look the same. And I made this very clear to him that you're showing me a tattoo on a chest going around an elbow.
They're going to be different.
They're going to be different. But again, he doesn't speak the language. So in his mind, he's saying, I like that tattoo, but I want a tattoo on my elbow, so it's just going to work. He's not fluent like I am. I tried to explain it to him, but so anyways, he was adamant. And I'm like, all right, we'll do it. And we did it, and I remember him looking at it and just not saying anything. And usually somebody looks at their new tattoo, they're like, oh man, that's awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
He just kind of looked at it and just kind of nodded, and that was it. And then I was like, we good? And you like it? And he's like, yeah, it's all right. And then he was just like keeping his shit together. And then it was so funny. I get a call from Nick. For those of you who don't know, Nick's like one of my fucking best friends in the whole wide world. He's my boss. He taught me how to tattoo. We work together. It's me, him, and another artist at the shop. But like, he's my boy. Anyways, he calls me. He's like, yo, that fucking tool called blowing up my phone about that tattoo. What happened, right? But it's funny because the way he sets it up is like he's already saying like that guy's the asshole.
Yeah.
Because Nick's just got my back no matter what, right? He just assumes he's an asshole that I didn't fuck up because I could have easily just fucked it up, right? He's like, yo, that guy's a fucking tool. He's saying he doesn't like your tattoo and he wants you to call him back or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And then I explain the situation because I don't want Nick just to think that I'm not doing things uncalculated.
Yeah.
I want him to know that no, like this guy's an asshole. This is what happened, But at the end of the day, he's unhappy. So I was like, all right, I'll give him a call back, whatever. And this is literally the same day he got the tattoo. So this guy didn't have, he was uncomfortable just telling me in person. But this is a grown ass man. Like, have the fucking balls to tell me you're not happy with it.
Like, I don't like it. What can we do?
Right. So he calls Nick. I call him back. I'm like, hey man, what's going on? And he's like, I don't like it, man. You shaded it all weird and da-da-da-da. It's not what I wanted. I wanted it, you did it like this. And I'm like, listen, man, I told you that it was going to look different around you. I explained, I reiterated or said again what I had said before the tattoo. And I'm like, man, listen, like if you want, when it's healed, come back in 3 to 4 weeks and we can take a look at it. And maybe there's something I can do to change it for you, whatever. It's not, maybe it's not a lost cause. He never called me back, so whatever. But that's just one situation. That's literally the only situation I can think of where somebody wasn't happy about it. I've had somebody need touch-ups, but they still love the tattoo. It just, sometimes tattoos need touch-ups or whatever. Maybe they didn't take care of it properly or they bumped it against something and it healed fucked, whatever. It's skin, right? At the end of the day, you're not working with paper. Sometimes it's unpredictable, so.
Yeah, it does crazy shit. You get cuts. I always worry about that when I get a cut on one of my tattoos or blast my elbow off something. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. No, exactly. So to answer your question, like I haven't had anybody like freak out or that's probably the only situation I can think of. And maybe there are others and people just didn't come to me and just didn't tell me, but whatever, that's on them. So I'm like Evel Knievel. I'm paid for the attempt.
Yeah. I like that. That's sick.
I stole that from Dave Chappelle. I can't take credit for that. I'm going to have Dave Chappelle fucking saying I stole his joke.
Well, if he listens to this, thank you for listening, Dave.
Yeah, no doubt, right?
Welcome to sponsor me.
Actually, you know what? If Dave Chappelle gets mad at me and posts about me being angry that I stole his joke, I fucking won. You know what I mean?
That's a win.
That's sick.
What's the next big win? We got 4 more minutes, and then I got to kick you out of here because you got to go home to your wife and kid.
For sure.
So what's next?
What's next?
In any realm of your life, what are you looking forward to?
What am I looking forward to? It's interesting because I just had this fight get canceled. That was the goal, and like the idea of booking another fight and then getting back into the camp is daunting too.
Yeah.
It's like I just talked about how like my life is meaningless without a booked fight, and that's not my whole life. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I'm a happy person. I've got a beautiful life. I got a beautiful wife and daughter. I've got amazing friends. I'm blessed. My life's blessed. But yeah, no, of course, to book another fight, I'll probably fight in May. That's the goal. That's when the next Unified show is. I'm under contract with them, so they'll probably try to get me a fight there. Hopefully with the same opponent, which would be great because I've been preparing for him for a while. So, but just the idea of getting back into a camp is like, and again, it wouldn't be for a while. I'm not going to get into a camp now. Like May is quite a ways away. So I guess like my immediate goal isn't a fight. It's feel like that's going to be my goal. I don't know, man. It's just like to be better at everything. To be better, man. I'm just trying to be a little bit better, a better version of myself every day. Even if it's 1%, whether it's in art or martial arts, jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, whatever, or being a dad. I think that my life is blessed because there's so many layers to this onion. I've got so many things that I'm pursuing, so many things that I could be better at, so many things that I love. I got so many things in my life that I feel would be the one thing in somebody's life. You know what I mean? Like some people, it's just about art. And there's some people like everything's about their kids, or some, martial artists, everything's about jiu-jitsu. Like I'm blessed to have all these things in my life, and each one of those things could be a singular focus. And for me, I've never felt spread too thin. I don't feel like, if I'm focusing on my art, my jiu-jitsu suffers, or if I'm focusing on just being with my daughter, that my other shit's going to suffer. I feel like it's me, and they all enhance every aspect of my life enhances every aspect of my life. I find that when I'm on point with my jiu-jitsu, my art is better, and I'm a calmer, more patient father. I'm a better husband. I'm a better friend. So I guess again, another long-winded answer.
It's your time, not mine.
I feel that my goal is just to constantly be better, just a little bit better every day, in one of those things. And if I can be better at one of those things, it'll usually trickle into the other things of my life, and I level up all the bars, if that makes sense.
It does. I agree with you. I think life is not about the peak. It's not about getting to a point and being done. That's death. It's about having a full life and still wanting to be better.
Yeah, just like you said earlier about how, like talking about martial arts and art, art,
Yeah, there's
visual
a reason
arts.
that's in there.
No, exactly. There is no pinnacle. There's no pinnacle, and that nothing could be more true than that. And at least for my life, I'm not. It's when you say something like you're not goal oriented, that sounds like lazy, or like I'm not goal oriented. I just do whatever the fuck I want. It's not like that at all. I just do. I just live my life, and goals are accomplished along the way. New peaks are reached along the way. So to say there's one specific goal, there really isn't, and there never has been. To be honest with you, it's always been just doing me better every day.
It's almost like life is a journey, not a destination.
100%.
Okay, bro. Thank you so much. I'm gonna let you get home.
Thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. I can't wait to do another. Let's do another one for sure, man. I love this
after
shit.
the fight, a little while, right when you're in training camp, you're cutting weight hard. Just gonna sit you down. You're just gonna fucking swear for an hour.
Sounds good. Let's do
Okay.
it. Cool.
See you, bro.
See you, bro.
That stool sucks.
You know what? I was thinking that the whole time.